Hello everyone. Today I want to have a look at how we can take a traditional task, writing an essay about a character in a play, and make it a little bit more AI resistant. So a common task might be something like this. Explore the role of Lord Capulet in William Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet. Consider how his actions, motivations and relationships contribute to the play's tragic events and our understanding of its key themes. Now, unfortunately, this type of essay is quite vulnerable to students hitting the easy button and just handing in ChatGPT's version. So, an alternative. This isn't a radical departure. It won't demand a huge change in traditional practices. Instead, you could ask your students to write a memoir from the point of view of Lord Capulet about the 4 days described in the play Romeo and Juliet by Shakespeare. Write it as if he's looking back from 10 years afterwards. Then write a reflective paragraph where you describe the intended effects of your writing. Now, education, I think, is quite a good task. You need to know the play very well. You need to understand what Lord Capulet does and why. But you also need to be empathetic and creative. And you need to interpret the end of the play. Does the fragile peace hold, or do the families descend into enmity again? Crucially, you need to use adaptive reasoning, taking the little the play tells us about Lord Capulet and adapting it to a new situation. Now, generative AI will know the play backwards, but empathy, creativity, and adaptive reasoning are things the bots find much more difficult to mimic. Now, I did ask them to have a go, and you can see the output with the links in the description below. At first glance, they're pretty good, but they're not going to convince anybody that they're human work. So the task is reasonably cheat resistant. But there's a much more positive and interesting way that you can use these AI versions. I asked some students to have a go at this task on their own first. Then we looked at the 3 AI versions, and I asked the students to compare them with their own. Straight away they were using higher level skills, analysis, comparison, evaluation, and they also found some new ideas. Claude, for example, emphasises Lord Capulet's regret that his final words to his daughter were so angry. Now, that hadn't occurred to my students, but it's a really interesting point, and it would definitely play on a bereaved father's mind. The students were able to redraft their work, and the second versions were much, much better. So the key takeaways, I think: use several AI versions. The comparison helps students realise that AI can only generate an answer, not the answer. And 2, understand the limitations of AI and shift your tasks towards those areas, focusing on creativity, empathy, and most important, adaptive reasoning.